We've talked about acquisition today. The second half of this is how do I deliver my product or service? And then how do I make sure my team are actually doing the things that actually serve clients? And this is the self-managed team part. So this is a roadway. This is something we teach every single day of the week. We won't be doing much of this today because we have better presenters talking about pipeline today. What I'd like to do is I'd like to move to the next part of this presentation today. We've talked about top of funnel. How do we generate cold leads with email? We've talked about middle of funnel. How do we get people to trust us just by what they see on our website? Now I want to talk about where the rubber hits the road, which is the conversion piece. So once someone sticks their hand up and says, I'm ready to go, I have buyer intent, we need to make sure that we have a sales process in place. And there's no one better to talk about this than a good friend of mine, Ben Lai, who's been around for a while now. And he's going to be talking today about how to convert more sales in three simple steps, I would say, but he says 3 steps. They may not be so simple. So Ben, let's switch over to you and let's hear about how we can improve sales in 3 steps.
Absolutely, David. Actually, they are simple. And my goal today is to teach you what I call catalyst skills. Now, if you've ever been in chemistry, you'll notice that sometimes you just put a very, very tiny amount of a particular substance, and it can create a big chain reaction within that mix. And so my goal today is to actually teach you just 3 simple things, 3 catalyst skills, that if you put it into practice, that you will increase your sales, guaranteed. And the reason that I'm doing this, and I'm not holding anything back, this is what I teach my clients to increase their revenue. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you that, hey, if Ben is willing to share these things for free, and it's already brought me a ton of value, gee whiz, I wonder how much more he can do if I actually work together with him. So yes, these are simple, but they're only going to work if you put it into practice. Before I go into the content, I would like to share a little bit about my story. Now, this picture perfectly captures me in my natural behavior. I'm a natural introvert. I'm an adapted introvert, but predominantly I don't like large parties. I love alone time, and frankly, hanging around with people all day long is very, very tiring. So if you feel like you are an introvert, maybe a little bit reserved, a little bit camera shy, I noticed someone in the comments saying that they're camera shy. Don't worry, I totally know what you mean. But the good news is that if I could learn how to sell and to be effective while remaining my authentic self, so can you. So can you. For that reason, I call myself the soft selling specialist. I'm all about building relationships with people and using the sales process as a way of helping people, as opposed to just a money-making scheme. But part of my story actually goes back to my first 7 years of doing business. So I've been in business full-time for 9 years. And I feel a little bit ashamed sometimes to confess that the first 7 years of running this business was pure struggle. Evidently, having sales skills was not enough in order to create a thriving business. I made some changes, I sought some help, I got some mentorship, and over the subsequent 2 years, I managed to double my business 2 years in a row. So if you'd like to hear about my journey, about how I managed to make this breakthrough, feel free to scan the code, and Arya will put the link in the chat box as well. I document all of the steps that I took to get to that point. And again, to highlight, it wasn't just sales skills. Sales skills alone will not help you to grow a thriving business. All right, over to the agenda. Firstly, before we go into the techniques and the methodologies of how to increase your sales conversions, we need to deal with some sales mindsets. Then we will go into the 3 steps, which is number 1, to sell like a doctor. Number 2, to be quick as a flash. And number 3, to follow up like a friend. All right, let's set the foundation. Why do we hate sales, and why has sales got such a bad reputation? The reason is because we've all had this situation where you receive a cold call and they're pushy, they're annoying, and we just think go away. I still remember a couple of months ago, I accidentally picked up a cold call, and the person, I let them do their pitch. I very politely told them, no, thank you, I'm not interested. And they had the goal to use objection handling techniques on the sales trainer. Now, I could tell his intent, he's well-meaning, but he just did not take no for an answer. And again, I politely declined. I was a bit more assertive that time. And then they just hung up without even saying goodbye or thank you for your time. So this is the reason that we have that negative association. So if we're going to sell effectively, we have to deal with these negative mindsets. Otherwise, I could teach you the best techniques in the world, and you will not want to put them into practice, or you will self-sabotage. There are a lot of myths around sales. I mean, you just type in the term salesperson into Google Images, and you might see something like this. And I imagine the guy would say, oh, hello, welcome. Come in. You look like a nice guy. I'll do you a good deal. Come in. This is our image of what a salesperson is like. But I would like to replace this with another image and to put forward the argument that there is actually a moral case for us to sell as much as we possibly can. And with this conviction, all of these techniques that I will teach you will become effective. The level of conviction that you have will be contagious to others. So here's the way that I look at things. Let's just imagine for a moment that you have the cure for a certain disease, right? And nobody else has this cure. Do you not have a moral responsibility to go around telling as many people as possible that, hey, I've got the cure for this disease? And then some people might be skeptical. They'll throw objections at you. They'll say, no, I don't believe that cure will work, right? Do you not have the responsibility to help them, to educate them, to show them a way to solve the problem that they have? Now, for each and every one of you who are in business, you exist primarily for the reason to solve people's problems profitably. You are in the business of solving problems. There are people out there who have the problem that you solve. Do you not have a responsibility to market yourself as much as you can and to sell as much as you can so that you can help as many people as you can to solve their problems? That is the moral case for marketing and for sales. And for a lot of you in the room, here's the sad truth, that a lot of you are the world's best kept secret. You're darn good at what you do, but nobody knows. And then when you get in front of someone, you're too afraid to convince them to work with you, right? That is the saddest thing. And even worse is for those people who are introverts like myself, all the business is going to go to the extroverts. Do you really want all of that to happen, right? Because these people are very good at communicating themselves. They have a certain air about them and confidence about them. But not all of them are genuinely good at what they do. There's a lot of gurus out there who say that they're really good, but then they're not. You do their course and it's rubbish. They don't deliver on their promises. So for us as introverts, we are usually the ones who are authentic. We're the ones who are really darn good at what we do, but we're the best kept secret. This is the moral case for marketing and sales. And I'll purposely use the analogy of the doctor so that we can go into the first step, which is to sell like a doctor. Diagnose before prescribing. That's the main takeaway. Now, let me ask you this. How would you feel if you walk into a doctor's office, you've had a headache for several days, you've tried everything, you've taken paracetamol, you've drank a lot of water, you tried to get more rest, the headache is still persisting. The doctor greets you. Hi, how can I help you? And you say, doctor, I've had a headache for several days now. And then he just hands you a couple of pills. Take these and you'll be right. Right? This is called medical malpractice. In the same way, many people, many well-meaning business owners, because they're so eager to close the sale and to get the business, they will sell to literally anyone who has a pulse and a wallet. And sometimes they only care about the latter part. So from that perspective, if we wouldn't like to be given a prescription without first going through the diagnostic process, we need to make sure that we're doing our clients the same service. So what are some examples of diagnostic questions? So here's what I typically ask my prospective clients. I will ask them, how many leads are you currently generating? And if they have 0, then I'll say, we've got our work cut out for us. Might need to talk to Yi Lin, might need to talk to Kate about getting some lead generation happening. How much are you converting? So 1 in 10, 3 in 10, 8 in 10, right? This is the data points that I collect to gauge how much of benefit I can provide my clients. What is your average transaction value? So I'm a sales trainer. Now, if your product is $500, it's probably not going to be worth you sitting down with every single prospect to sell a $500 product. It's just not worth your time as a business owner. What are the blocks? What has been stopping you from achieving success so far? And what are the goals that you want to achieve? So whatever your service is, whatever problem you're solving, you need to be very, very familiar with the precursors of success. Ask the questions to determine if I help you, will we actually get the result that you are looking for? Make sure you ask the questions and diagnose before prescribing. Sell like a doctor. Think of yourself like a doctor. Just that one mindset shift will transform your entire sales process. Now, here's a bonus tip. If someone is in a position where they may not get the result that you're trying to give them, should you still sell to them? And the short answer is no. Be willing to say no to the person. I still remember a long time ago, I spoke to one entrepreneur who was wanting to get into the school software space. He was a one-man band. And I had to frankly say to him, I'm sorry, I don't think that this is going to work. I can teach you the best sales skills in the world. It's not going to make a shred of difference because schools will not buy an entire system from one person, right? They need, so be brave enough to walk away from deals if you've diagnosed and determined that you cannot help them. All right, so that was tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to be as quick as the flash. As you can replace the word a with the flash. Any other fellow nerds in the room, superhero nerds? Now, here's the truth. Responsiveness is highly correlated with the perceived quality of a service. Responsiveness equals quality service. Now, everybody's going to say they have quality service. What in the world does that even mean, right? Well, here's the answer. Responsiveness. Be quick to reply. Now, here's a little story. There was one time I was looking for car insurance. Now, having worked in the web space previously, I know that the car insurance, like for Google Ads, it costs ridiculous amount of money for every single click. We're talking $50 per click, not per inquiry, per click. So at 8 p.m., I was on the website. I submitted my details on this website. And literally 3 minutes later, I got a phone call from the call center from this insurance company. And the reason that they're doing this is because they know that it costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars for every single inquiry. So they were guarding them like treasure, like gold. And so in the same way, we need to make sure that we guard our leads and to be as responsive as we can. Because it is, and here's another fact, that the way that you conduct your sales process is going to be a very strong indicator and how people think that you are going to serve them once they become a client. So if you have a lousy sales process, they're going to be thinking you have a lousy service. So that's the truth about response times, right? So don't leave, so be very, very quick to respond. So another story to illustrate this point. A few months ago, I had a problem with my plumbing. No, not that plumbing, not that plumbing. Okay, it was get your mind out of the gutter. Okay, not that plumbing. It was actually my toilet. Okay. You can put your mind back in the gutter. It was a problem with the toilet. The toilet was broken, right? I submitted an inquiry on a plumbing website, and the next day, still waiting for a response from them. And I thought, I'll just give this another crack. I'll just try fixing it. I fixed the problem myself. And then the next day, I finally got a response from this plumbing company. Don't be that plumbing company. That's what you call crap service. So the bottom line is, David's shaking his head. Respond as fast as possible. For every hour that elapses after the initial inquiry, you have an exponentially lower chance of winning that business. So if possible, aim to be that insurance company, to call within 2 or 3 minutes as soon as the lead comes in. If you're running marketing campaigns and you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing, you don't want to waste it by just being slow. Here's the final tip. Follow up like a friend. Help your clients to act. Now, just imagine for a moment, a friend of yours, or you're sharing with a friend, you've got some problem, you're going through some relationship challenges, or you're having some challenges with your business. And then a few weeks later, they call up and they say, hey, how are you going with that challenge? How are you going with that problem? Would you not appreciate the follow-up? Right? Would you not see that as caring, and that they're really concerned about you? But the problem is we often see follow-up like stalking. So what I'm going to share with you is how to follow up without coming across like a stalker. Now, here's another interesting thing. The thing is, we think that people get annoyed by follow-ups. But here's a quote from one of my past clients. He was talking about a female salesperson. And he said, gee, this person is so persistent. I guess I'd better buy something from her. I guess I'd had better buy something from her. Follow-up shows a certain level of care, and it shows a certain level of persistence, and therefore professionalism. So, I'm now collecting more and more case studies where people have actually gotten upset that I made that mistake once. I neglected to follow up one particular prospect, and I finally got around to it 3 weeks later, and he was really upset with me for not following up. Right? So just remember that. Some people want to reward persistence. So here's the framework on how to follow up without coming across like a stalker. Step number one, let's just, this framework works for any stage of the sales process, but just for the sake of the Catalyst skills, we're just going to focus in on after you've done a sales presentation. So here, take note of this, all right? Write it down, put this as part of your process. Book the decision call. Book the decision call. It's going to be a quick call. Book it in, make sure it's in the calendar, it's in their calendar, it's in your calendar. There's no mucking around with phone tag and just following up, just checking in, none of that nonsense. You're booking in the decision call. If they bounce, if they don't turn up for the decision call, you send them the spear message. And if they don't respond to the spear message, you send them the goodbye message. So for the decision call, basically here's what you explain to your prospect. If you've decided to go ahead, we'll book in your appointments. We'll get the ball rolling. If you've decided not to go ahead, that's okay. Let me know. I won't take it personally. Just make me this one promise that you won't ghost me. Right? I can take the rejection. You can be a bit tongue-in-cheek in that way. Then the next step is this. Okay, let's just say they don't turn up for the appointment or they miss the call. you send them the spear message. The spear message is just one line. Are you still interested in sales coaching? Are you still interested in XYZ? Nice and simple. This is going to get you much more response rates than much longer emails, just one line. Finally, after you've sent the spear message, give it maybe 1 or 2 days cooling off, you send them the goodbye message. Sounds like you've gone in a different direction. I wish you all the best. Now, for the people who are genuinely interested in working with you, they will immediately reply. That's the magic of the goodbye message. But for everybody else, they'll think, phew, I'm not going to be followed up anymore. And you can also breathe a sigh of relief because you don't have to follow them up anymore. They're not going to buy. If any of this has resonated with you today, I am offering 1 hour complimentary strategy sessions. Here's the QR code. Arya's going to put a link into the chat as well. Book yourself in. We'll chat. We'll see if I can help you. If not, I promise you, I'll do the diagnostic process and I'll be honest with you. If I can't help you, I'll say so. But just book it in and let's explore. All right, so we've covered a lot of things. We covered sales mindsets. We covered selling like a doctor, be as quick as a flash, and to follow up like a friend. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's give Ben a nice round of applause on that one. His energy gets better every single time, but his jokes are getting worse. Oh, God. Lucky I was muted when some of those jokes nearly killed me. But he's right? I will tell you one thing that Ben's accurate about is most people think sales is hard sell. Sales is not hard sell. It's helping people buy. It's helping people understand they have a problem and that you may have a solution and that you're not going to go away until they tell you to go away, because that's where trust is built. One of the key elements for trust is make and keep small agreements. Ben talked about making sure you book the decision call. Ben said, if you're going to follow up, do it in this way. Don't chase people, right? Give them the opportunity to say no. It's really critical that you do get a sales process in place. Ben's offering a very generous amount of his time. An hour of his time is a lot. It will give you a clarity and focus on how to improve your sales process. And I'm pretty sure he's not going to prescribe any pills to you whatsoever, physically. Mentally, he might. So yes, please book a time with Ben if you feel that you need to work on your sales process. Just a little quote that I love. I've had this quote hanging around since 20 years ago when Jim Rohn used to be alive, and I read his books. If you don't know who this man is, he is worth Googling. He is one of the motivational speakers that carried me into this business in the first place and started me on the road to learning. And he said one thing that stuck with me forever, and that was never wish life was easier. Wish you were better. Because life is life. Whatever happens in the economy is going to happen, right? What you can control is how you respond and what you know. So coming to these events is about education, right? Application is the key. You'll notice there's a thread in what I talk about when we bring these people on board, because you need to know how to do things. Not only do you need to know how to do things, you need to implement these things. So don't wish life were easier, wish you were better.